In today's news, that's breaking news. Clarence Cecil Thomas, stalwart businessman, Rotarian, and founder of Clarence Thomas Limited, has passed.
And students without consent for COVID testing will not be denied face-to-face learning, says Education Minister.
The Department of Youth Affairs and Sports launches a workshop for early career conservationists ages 18 to 29 years.
And CIBC First Caribbean donates $35,000 to the BVI Cancer Society following successful 2021 Walk for the Cure. And we also see on the international scene the United Kingdom to end mandatory mask wearing and COVID passports from next Thursday. But viewers, these and more stories when 284 News return.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today.
Welcome everyone. It's Friday, January 21st, 2022. I'm Kamal Haynes.
And I'm Ron Grant. Thank you so much for tuning in. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. We're coming to you live and direct from Tortola in the Virgin Islands. Before we get into our newscast, just touching on some headlines. The COVID-19 scare, that is 23 prison officers and several inmates down, says Health Minister, that of the state-owned Her Majesty's Prison. The HM Customs intercepts some 34K of a marijuana shipment from the U.S., and we need our people to come back home. That's a plea from the Honorable Health Minister as it pertains to a shortage of healthcare workers in the Virgin Islands. Viewers, beginning the newscast on a very sad note, in an official post via social media, today the family of stalwart Virgin Islands businessman, Rotarian, and founder of Clarence Thomas Limited announced the passing of the Virgin Islands businessman. The post stated, and I quote, "The Thomas family is sad to announce the passing of our patriarch, Clarence C. Thomas, from 1936 to 2022. Now, Mr. Thomas, 86 years, was well known for his contributions towards the business community in providing empire-building initiatives that allowed Virgin Islanders a door to small businesses, and of course a number of philanthropic efforts both through his business and the Rotary Club of Tortola. Mr. Thomas passed away this morning, February 21st, 2022. Now, in February of 2018, the Rotary Club of Tortola, for which Thomas was a faithful member, honored Mr. Thomas at its 50th anniversary celebration for his remarkable contributions as a Rotarian. In an official statement, the family of Clarence C. Thomas Limited further issued a statement, and I quote, "Clarence Cecil Thomas is survived by his immediate family, his wife, Mabel Fret Thomas, his daughters Jacqueline, sons Michael, David, and Neil Thomas, and many other relatives. Clarence Cecil Thomas, a pioneer in the Virgin Islands community, was a master plumber, having acquired his welding and plumbing skills from a 2-year training program in Puerto Rico, created by the United States government. Now, after his sojourn in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where he became a licensed plumber, he returned home as to the British Virgin Islands, first licensed plumbing contractor in the territory. In 1965, he formed Clarence Thomas Limited, a plumbing company that significantly contributed to the construction of the territory's hospital and many large hotels. Recognizing, of course, the need for plumbing supplies in the territory, he created a plumbing supply store under a cherry tree in his yard in his beloved community of Seacows Bay. Now, the Clarence Thomas Plumbing Supplies store expanded in stages over a period of 50 years to become the Virgin Islands' largest building supplies, housewares, and maintenance stores, now called CTL Home Center Limited, with locations in Fish Bay, Tortola, and of course on the Valley Virgin Gorder. Clarence exemplified, the family said, service above self as one of the first members of the Rotary Club of Tortola and a Paul Harris Fellow awardee. He also received numerous other awards for his pioneering and entrepreneurial Virgin Islands spirit. Clarence Thomas was a kind and generous man who passed on his plumbing skills to many young men in the Virgin Islands community who became full-fledged plumbing contractors in their own right. He contributed generously to the country's education, healthcare, and infrastructure, and gave his continuous support to many charities. His legacy lives on through CTL Home Center Limited and his beloved wife Mabel and children Jacqueline, Michael, David, and Neil. May his soul, they said, rest in peace. The family also took the time to ask those who wish to submit tributes to do so by sending photos and tributes via email to David Thomas at dthomas@ctlbvi.com. Viewers, at this time, on behalf of the ownership, management, and staff of 284 Media, CCT, and BVI Cable TV, we extend our condolences to the family and friends and, of course, workers at CTL of Mr. Clarence Thomas and the management of his team. Truly a significant loss, Kamal, to the Virgin Islands community.
Indeed. As you said, we here at 284 Media do send condolences to the family and loved ones of Mr. Thomas. Well, viewers, moving on, where Deputy Premier and Minister for Education, Dr. Natalia Whitley, has made it clear that all students will be allowed physically in the classroom with or without consent to be tested for COVID-19. But the minister made a statement during an interview with 284 News on Thursday, January 20th. Well, his comments came following the circulation of a form which requested the consent of parents to test their children for COVID-19 prior to re-entry into the classrooms. Well, some parents were concerned that their children may have been barred from the classroom if the consent was not given. However, the minister put those concerns to rest, stating that no child will be refused the opportunity to return to face-to-face learning.
Well, if you refuse to give consent, the child can still come to school. The child will not be denied the right for an education. But we want to encourage parents. We want to encourage guardians. We want to encourage persons who are responsible to allow your children to be tested. It's better for you to know their status than to not know their status. I don't see any good reason whatsoever to deny your children and yourself the opportunity to know their COVID-19 status. As I said before, the test is not uncomfortable at all. Many of these tests are administered at the ports when we travel. When we travel, these are things that we have to do, and of course we accept that we have to do them when we travel. And I think we should take the very same concern for the safety of the children in our education system. So I don't see any reason whatsoever why someone would want to deny themselves knowledge of knowing the COVID status of their children. But if they, for whatever reason, want to object, their children will still be able to receive an education.
But the minister also spoke on the topic of testing among staff in education. He said while it is not mandatory for staff to be testing for the virus, he believes they are the ones that should lead by example. He said that this would help students and parents to feel more confident in the testing regime process.
Did anyone to be tested, but we certainly would expect that the teachers, the administrators, the principals, the staff at the schools will be a good example to the students, and they would consent to be tested. As I said before, we would have had many persons in the past who would have been afraid of the PCR test. This test is not a PCR test, it's a rapid antigen test. It's administered to the front of the nose. It doesn't go to the back of the nose where it's uncomfortable. And I see no good reason why an adult, I think the adult should be even more enthusiastic and even more prepared to have a test done than the students. And I'm hopeful that we are not disappointed in that area as it pertains to teachers putting up any objection. I don't think that would send a lot of confidence to many of the parents who are sending the children to the teachers' care. But I'm confident that the teachers will comply and get tested. I'm confident of that.
But the education minister also addressed the concerns which were raised on mass testing. He said while the aim is to test as many students as possible, the reality is that goal is not feasible. He said instead, the ministry will be conducting testing among selected samples of students.
Services have promised us to come up with a logical and reasonable regime for the testing, and I wouldn't want to reveal those details until all of the details of that have been fleshed out. But persons can be certain that there will be testing at various schools after this initial testing. For the initial testing, I believe they want to get as many persons as possible to get a good baseline idea of what the schools look like. We know that the spike that we had for December and January, that it's waning. Our cases are reducing, but we have to remain vigilant because an event like opening of school could actually cause the COVID-19 to continue to spread much longer than we wanted it to. So the cases are falling. We want them to continue to fall. We want to get some good baseline data of what's the situation among the student population right now. So as many persons can consent as possible, we certainly welcome that. But thereafter, we will have a sampling regime, and details of that will follow, and we'll make sure that 284 Media has those details.
Great. And well, viewers, that was the Deputy Premier and Minister of Education, Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley.
Viewers, on the conversation of education, continuing on adapting to the new era of learning, 13 teachers across the Virgin Islands school system have received a training to deliver distance education and use information and communications technology in education during and beyond the COVID-19 crisis. Now, the program was made possible by the United Nations Organization for Education, Science and Culture, also known as UNESCO Distance Learning and Teacher Training Program. In an official comment via the Government of the Virgin Islands Information Services, Minister for Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries and Agriculture, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley, said, and I quote, the knowledge provided in this program will aid educators in executing effective and meaningful lessons online with their students. I am pleased that educators are advancing their skill set and congratulate all 13 educators who received a certificate of completion in the program. Now, viewers, also commenting on the successful completion of the program, Secretary General for the BVI National Commission for UNESCO, Dr. Alison Flax Archer, said the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic forced school closures, and while the Virgin Islands bounced back quicker than its Caribbean counterparts, it was still with some difficulty, as teachers needed to move quite quickly from a traditional classroom to an online learning environment. Dr. Flax Archer added, and I quote, the UNESCO distance learning training has provided teachers with tools and resources to equip them as they contribute and continue to navigate their way through the online learning platform. We should always be ready to shift should the need arise. Congratulations to our teachers, she said. Now, viewers, the entire program cohort was made up of some 52 master trainers and some 440 teachers from across the region. Speaking on the Lent term for the 2021-2022 school year, which began on January 6th through online learning, Chief Education Officer Dr. Connie George said she was pleased to see that teachers took advantage of the course that was offered and completed it successfully. Dr. George said, and I quote, this shows me that our educators are willing to make the sacrifices necessary to ensure that they have the necessary resources and skills to be effective in the classroom and be prepared, of course, for the current demands, the teaching and learning process. The Chief Education Officer also added that since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic and education had to move to online, many of the regional and international organizations have offered many free courses for educators. We have been informing all educators, she said, through our Virgin Islands schools, blast emails, method of the courses. Now, interested teachers are invited to participate in the upcoming training session, which is scheduled for August 2022. The course introduces teachers to basic digital skills, remote learning methods, and a variety of ICT techniques for teaching, as well as equip them with the skills and resources they need to deliver alternate and appropriate forms of remote learning using no, low, and high-tech digital tools. Lots of stuff going on in the education scene, and we continue to wish them the very best.
Well, viewers, up next, CIBC First Caribbean donates $35,000 to the BVI Cancer Society following a successful 2021 Walk for the Cure event. And Youth Affairs and Sports launches workshop for early career conservationists ages 18 to 29. But these and more stories after a word from our sponsors.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, the BVI Cancer Society recently received a check valued $35,000 from the CIBC First Caribbean Bank Tortola branch, which were proceeds from the bank's successful 2021 Walk for the Cure event. Well, the check was received by the president of the BVI Cancer Society, Ms. Gloria Foy, during a small handover ceremony, which was held on Wednesday, January 19th. Well, viewers, I was there to report on the occasion. Listen in. Well, good afternoon, viewers. I'm here with Mr. Devonish here, the branch manager of First Caribbean International Bank. We're here about the Cancer Society Walk 2021. Just speak about the presentation of $35,000 to the Cancer Society Walk. Obviously, it's an annual event, one of the biggest events in terms of social and physical recreational events in the territory regarding a cause of cancer, a good cause, that of cancer, in terms of all the proceeds go towards the Cancer Society here in the BVI, and we will have seen you today giving somewhat of a check of $35,000 to the Cancer Society. So let's firstly speak on that.
All right, so this year was our 10th anniversary. Over the last 10 years, the walk has gone from the first year of $1,250 to this year we actually presented $35,000. So it's been growing. And this year, despite COVID, we held 3 events leading up to, including the actual walk. So this year we had our Men in Pink activity at the Pier Park in June to launch our push for the Walk for the Cure. And then in September we had a rally, a treasure hunt rally, which was well attended as well, to raise funds for the Cancer Society, and then it culminated with our October Walk for the Cure, right? So through those events and the sponsors, a list of around 12 or 13 sponsors, we were able to raise some $35,000, which we've today passed on to the Cancer Society to help with those persons who are suffering with cancer, surviving from cancer, and the caregivers towards cancer.
While not being able to speak on the plans in store for the walk in 2022, since arrangements are presently in progress, the branch manager did recap on some of the events of 2021 that led to the huge $35,000 donation.
The events normally start in September and October. But what we did last year and what we found worked is that we started to raise awareness from earlier in the year. So in June we had the Men in Pink, and then COVID and different restrictions kind of restricted our activities in July and August, but we didn't cancel them, we postponed them. And we held our rally in September 2021. And why the rally was good is that you came in your bubble, in your vehicle, and we had a treasure hunt around the island. So it would be just you participating with those, It would just have been the participants along with the people in their bubble that they're comfortable with, that they would have participated in the event with. And we actually had a lot of fun in that event. And in October we had the normal Walk for the Cure. We had about 200 people strong for that event. Socially distanced, again, you walk with the persons in your bubble, and we had another fun event.
I also spoke to the president of the BVI Cancer Society, Ms. Gloria Foy, who thanked CIBC First Caribbean for their continuous donation to the charitable organization over the years.
The monetary value, it means a lot to us. But we don't really focus on the monetary value because we say if you give us $1, we are very much satisfied with that. But of course, $35,000 will go a long, long way in helping a lot of persons who are diagnosed with cancer here in the territory. And we do have a lot of persons, and we do receive a lot of applications for assistance. So we are very happy and we are very proud of what the management and staff of CIBC First International Bank has done. It's great success.
And obviously, cancer here in the BVI is still a big thing. Even though we have COVID, some people tend to overlook it. But obviously, cancer is still one of the leading causes of death among persons here. Just speak to what, in terms of this, can do to help with that situation in the BVI.
We are not only overlooked here in the British Virgin Islands, we are overlooked wide world, because I've been looking at the news with it, because a lot of persons are not being helped medically, a lot of persons are being left behind, and because COVID is such a dangerous virus, right? People more tend to look at COVID and ignore other diseases such as diabetes, cancer, and all the other chronic disease. But we are here to let persons know that we are here and we need the help as well. It's not just about COVID, but it's also about all the contagious diseases, including cancer and like I said, diabetes, that we really need to pay more attention to here in the BVI.
Well, you heard it, viewers. Today was a very special day for the BVI Cancer Society, who would have received that $35,000 check, which will go a long way to help fighting cancer here in the BVI. Well, you heard it, viewers. Obviously, great news for the territory, great news for cancer in the BVI with that donation from the First Caribbean, CIBC First Caribbean. $35,000 goes a long way.
Absolutely amazing. Viewers, continuing on, the Department of Youth Affairs and Sports through the Ministry of Education is hosting Early Career Conservationist Workshop in hopes of fostering a love and understanding for young persons interested in the field of conservation. In an official statement through the Government Information Services Director of Youth Affairs and Sports, Mrs. Brenda Letsamtai, encouraged early career conservationists between the ages of 18 to 29 to participate in the 2-week workshop. Now, the workshop is being hosted through the Conservation Leadership Program to increase the capacity of early career conservationists from the Caribbean islands to obtaining funding from small grant donors. Now, during the 2-week workshop, 16 participants will be guided through the entire project development and proposal writing process and will acquire an in-depth information on a range of proposal-related topics. Now, viewers, in order to be eligible to participate, persons must meet the following qualifications. The workshop is designed for early career conservationists with limited fundraising experience, accepting applications from nationals of all Caribbean islands. The workshop will be taught in English. Applicants must have a good understanding of written and spoken English. Applicants must also have no more than 5 years of professional paid conservation experience. Applicants should be planning to submit an application to the Conservation Leadership Program or other donors as soon as the workshop is completed. Accepted applicants must commit to the training days of March 7th to the 11th if in person, or March 7th to the 18th if online. In addition to that, if the training is delivered in person, you must have a valid in-person up to date and be able to travel to Jamaica during this training period. Now, if the training is to be delivered online, you must have a reliable internet connection, of course, to participate. CLP can support with internet costs if required. Additionally, viewers, applications must be submitted online at www.surveymonkey.co.uk no later than Friday, January 21st, 2022. Interested persons can also contact henry.reese, that's henry.reese at fauna.flora.org for further information. Quite an amazing opportunity for our young conservationists in the territory of all Caribbean nationalities. We trust that you would take advantage of that. Viewers, we have a lot more in store for you. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a brand new season of The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, a show poised to help guide modern-day men into 21st century distinguished gentlemen. It doesn't always involve suits and, bow ties, but raw, real-life lessons that translate to grounded, community-minded, well-rounded men. This season, I'm taking you on an entirely different journey, from chefs to dancers, philanthropists, communications specialists, and much more. I'm heading outside in the field to share the journey of some of the BVI's best and brightest men. From East End to West End, Bojangada, Jackson Lake, not forgetting Antigua. Our Virgin Islands gentlemen are doing the damn thing, and I'm so proud. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redirect. We are the movers and shakers of this generation, and we ain't afraid to show it. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 3 by yours truly, Ron Grant, raising a generation of greatness.
Welcome back, viewers. Well, the United Kingdom's Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced that England's Plan B will end from January 27th, which will also see the end of mandatory mask wearing and COVID passports for all residents and tourists. Well, Prime Minister Johnson made the announcement while delivering a statement to members of the Parliament in the House of Commons on Wednesday, January 19th. Well, he said, due to the wide administering of COVID boosters and the manner of how residents followed Plan B, England was reverting to Plan A, which would also immediately promote the return of persons physically working in their respective establishments. Viewers, take a listen.
This morning, the Cabinet concluded that because of the extraordinary booster campaign, together with the way the public have responded to the Plan B measures, we can return to Plan A in England and allow Plan B regulations to expire. As a result, from the start of Thursday next week, mandatory certification will end. Organisations can, of course, choose to use the NHS COVID pass voluntarily, but we will end the compulsory use of COVID status certification in England. From now on, the government is no longer asking people to work from home. And people should now speak to their employers about arrangements for returning to the office. And having looked at the data carefully, the Cabinet concluded that once regulations lapse, the government will no longer mandate the wearing of face masks anywhere.
Well, there were some of the other changes included the end of mandatory COVID passports to enter nightclubs and large events. The mandatory mask wearing law will no longer exist, but residents will be advised to wear masks or covering in crowded or enclosed areas when socializing with strangers. And secondary school students will no longer be mandated to wear masks in classrooms. Viewers, listen in.
From tomorrow, we will no longer require face masks in classrooms, and the Department for Education will shortly remove national guidance on their use in communal areas. In the country at large, we will continue to suggest the use of face coverings in enclosed or crowded spaces, particularly when you come into contact with people you don't normally meet, but we will trust the judgment of the British people and no longer criminalise anyone who chooses not to wear one. The government will also ease restrictions further on visits to care homes, and my right honourable friend, the Secretary of State for Health and Social Care, will set out plans in the coming days. Mr. Speaker, as we return to Plan A, the House will know that some measures still remain, including those on self-isolation. In particular, it is still a legal requirement for those who have tested positive for COVID to self-isolate.
Well, viewers, Prime Minister Boris Johnson also hinted that his government will be moving to end the legal requirement which mandates that COVID-positive persons isolate. He said instead, those persons will receive advice and guidance. Well, the current regulations around self-isolation in the United Kingdom is set to end on March 24th, and Prime Minister Johnson said he is not expected to renew those regulations and hinted that he may end the requirement prior to the expiration date if the advice by the data supports that decision. Ron, obviously here in the BVI, we tend to somewhat follow what we tend to see in the United Kingdom. But here we see they're basically moving to end mask wearing following the administering of boosters. I assume that is obviously why we see here in the territory where government is pushing for persons to be first vaccinated and then receive the booster so that we too eventually could move in that direction.
Kamal, this does not come as a surprise at all. We have seen across Europe where the conversations have been ongoing as it pertains to really ending the mask mandate and really treating this as though it is a common cold. So I don't think there's a surprise there. We do, however, like you mentioned, have to look closely and see what our local health officials will deem necessary moving forward, only because a lot of what is coming in from the United Kingdom is essentially how we are governed in most cases. Viewers, that is all the time we have, but that is not all the content. Be sure to check out our website, Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. A happy Friday to each and every one of you. I'm Ron Grant.
And viewers, I'm Kamal Haynes, and as my colleague said, have a superb weekend.
Bye-bye.